Now that we've talked about communication amongst men, we are going to turn it over towards communication amongst women. The ways and problems that women communicate and how we can effectively communicate better. So, folks, to start, any points on the problems that women communicate towards men and children?
From the women I know, I have pretty good communication with them. Now, when they interact with their friends, I'm not sure about that. And I've seen lots of women in my life interact with their children on points. I'm not on point sometimes, but it is what it is. But the interactions that I have with women are mostly respectful, because that's the energy I give off to them. I don't try to be disrespectful to them. But there are times when some females that I know have been, in their bag or whatever you want to call it, and they just want to,
Is it a Gucci bag?
I don't know. It's
what kind of Birkin?
Dirty bag to me, because they're coming at me sideways and file about something I know I didn't do. So when they do that, I know I'm not the problem. They just want to vent.
What does sideways mean?
You mean when they come sideways at you?
In terms of a woman communicating with you, sideways, what does that mean?
It's like she not trying to be straight up with me in this conversation, or we'll be talking about one thing and she'll bring something in that has nothing to do with what we're talking about to just mess up the conversation and steer it in another direction. To me, that's sideways talking. You're not being straight about the subject matter that we're talking about.
Gotcha.
You're just, trying to bring something else in to either prove a point, or to knowing that she already so-called maybe not won the argument, so she tries to bring something else up as a diversion.
Oh, to win the argument.
Not to win the argument.
Okay.
The argument's already lost.
Okay.
She's just trying to bring something up to just stir up something else.
Okay.
That's sideways talk to me.
Okay.
Well, for me, I think that from women to men, I think we as females can emasculate a man when we communicate with him. Belittle him with our words, tell him things like he ain't nothing, he's not worth nothing, use what he's supposed to be doing based on society as taking care of the household or being the breadwinner, and if they're not providing what we want them to provide, then he ain't anything, then he's not worth anything. Towards children, I think we belittle our children because that's a form of control. Instead of talking to our children, we talk at our children, we call them names. In certain communities, we call them heifers, we say they're worthless, we turn around and say we're going to sock them. I heard a lady saying that in the laundry mat the other day to her son. If you don't shut up, I'm going to sock you. As a form of control. Women tend to use their mouth as their weapon towards males and children, when children use their vulnerability and men use their strength. And so I think that's some ways that we ineffectively communicate to men and children.
Okay. And how do you guys feel about bringing up the past?
I'll go first. Thank you. If it's relevant because it creates a pattern that you want your significant other, child, or whoever you're communicating with to see, yes. But to constantly bring up the past because you're not past the past, I don't think that's effective. Now, that may be valid for that woman. That's something she has to work through. But if you're trying to prove a point and show a pattern, I think that is valid. So if a man constantly leaves you shortchanged, or he's not consistent with his behavior, or he says one thing and does another, you need to bring up those, it may be helpful to bring up those examples so that they can see the errors of their ways. Because oftentimes I notice men are like, let's talk about the situation at hand. But you don't understand that you've done this situation with a different face 10 times before. Exactly. But I'm supposed to sit up here and go, okay, baby, it was one mistake today, but you did the same thing. If you were supposed to come and pick me up for a date on Tuesday, 6 o'clock, and you didn't do that last week at Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and you didn't do that the week before. You have a pattern of
Right,
inconsistency, so
right.
I'm calling you on that.
And the past is continuing to be the present.
Exactly.
So it's not the past.
How can I move past the past and just give this present moment a pass when you're still doing the things from yesterday, the day
Right.
before, and the day before? And
Right.
especially if I've created an opportunity for you to communicate effectively and say what you can and cannot do.
Right.
The same thing for children. If you're not cleaning up your bedroom, but you expect to go play, and you expect to go to the winter ball dance, and you expect to go to prom, and you expect a car, and you expect a Xbox 2, but I know you're not going to get your homework if I give you everything, yeah, I'm going to let you know. I remember the last time that you didn't do that, or the last time I gave you a pass, and you took advantage of me and you played me, so I'm going to remind you of that. And even better than that, now I have to make new solutions in order for you to be effective in your role, because if I'm continually to be passive with you, then all you're going to do is continue to take advantage of me.
Right.
And
Right.
even if you, one more thing, if you can't let go of the past, I think women bring it up because they expect, some women do, other women want to encourage the healing process. And so they can't get past it because you are the other half of the healing process.
Right.
And I want to communicate that with you, but when you are dismissive and you overlook it, you say the past is the past, but I haven't gotten past the past because you haven't helped me heal from the past,
Right.
it's going to continue to come up until I, as a woman, have enough common sense to say, you know, you're not going to address it, so I have to let this go as well as you.
Right.
Because that's the only way I can get past the past, is by letting everything that came with the past go.
Right.
I got a question for you guys. All right, in that same vein, what if you have forgiven the person and you bring up the past? How do you feel about that? You've already forgiven the person, so why keep bringing it up? Did you not really forgive the person and you keep bringing it up? Because I feel if you forgave the person, all right, it's done. But if you keep bringing it up, it's like, oh, I thought she forgave me already.
Well, have you acted?
And I've
Sure.
never done that again. I've never done that again, but we get into another argument about something, and you bring that up.
So then no, a woman has
Okay.
not forgiven it.
Okay.
Or she's using
hasn't
that
forgiven you.
she's using that as a tool to
Control.
emasculate, to control you, or make you feel bad. It could,
Okay.
excuse me, it could be a battlefield tool to pick at you. Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks. That's I always wanted to know
That's
that.
interesting.
And just because a person or a woman says she forgives you, doesn't necessarily mean she forgives you. Because the same thing that we expect from a man, he says some things, but we look at their actions. Same thing that should be expected from women. If you actually say you forgive someone, your actions need to show you forgive
I
someone.
agree.
I know with myself, if I don't forgive you, I don't forgive you.
Then
I
say
don't.
that.
And I'm going to say it to you.
Yeah, just say
Absolutely.
it.
And I'm going to keep bringing it up until you do what you need to do to help the healing process. And if you don't, I'm going to have to let you go.
Well, what if
But and it
what if
can't.
you see them making progress on not doing whatever you forgave them about?
It has to be, no. That's two separate things that
Okay.
you just said. Because if you don't address the hurt that you caused for that situation, but you're doing other things, there's still that situation that we need to address.
But what if they acknowledge that they did X, Y, and Z and said, my bad, I see that that hurt you, and I won't do that anymore, and they don't do it anymore?
Well, when that man comes along, introduce me
I'm right here.
to him. You're my brother, so you know.
But
Unless we have a situation.
We still have family-like relationship.
But we
And
adjust
if I
things.
hurt you and I say I won't do that no more, and you be like, bro, this hurt my feelings, and I be like, all right, I won't do that anymore, and then I never do it, I will give you no reason to bring it up again, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
But
That's
unless
what I say, I'm right
it's a-
here.
It's a control thing or manipulation
Manipulating
thing.
control, yeah.
But I would, if you actually make it, no, I wouldn't do that.
I'm making an effort not to do it again.
Right.
Yeah.
So, in addition to that, what about? There's two things I want to talk about, like at the same time. But what about this?
What's that?
I need money. I need you to do this. I need you to be all about me. Do you feel that
That's the kind of woman I want.
Wait. Do you feel what?
that is a part of poor communication with a woman?
No.
Or from a woman to a man?
I don't think so, because if you chose to be with that woman and you know that she has those tendencies to, I want to go get that Birkin bag today, babe, hook me up, and you got it like that, you hook your girl up. You chose that woman, and you know what her lifestyle, some of her lifestyle choices are, and you don't want her to stop doing those things. Yeah, and if I promise I'll take care of X bill or whatnot, I'll do it.
But
I don't look at it as a problem. Because
but
I
are
know
her
my,
lifestyle choices your dependency? I mean, her
if I chose that
dependency on
woman,
you?
if I chose that woman, then
Now-
I know that that's what she's like.
But you said if the initial thing you said was if you knew she was like that.
Yeah.
Now there's some women that may play the role until they get the particular man, and then they become like that. So I think that's a dub.
Okay.
That's like a woman wearing a full face of makeup. When she takes it off, she don't even look nothing like that. That's not fair. That's totally deceitful. You should be able to choose a woman with a Coach bag and options to like Birkin bags, and that be authentic all the way across the board. Now, if you know her like that, and you see her like that, you're going after that, and you know she's gonna have that mentality, and you know she's going to have that mentality. Yes, then okay, then you chose the bed to lay in, make it up and lay in that bad boy.
But
At the
it's not-
same time, however, if a woman is as she can have, excuse me, I feel like this. If you want your man to buy you a Birkin bag, you better be able to buy him a Lamborghini.
Right.
That's what I was getting ready to
Because
say.
you obviously have to have accepted a man that has enough money in bank
Yep.
or mentality to want to get to that level to buy you a Birkin
Yep.
bag, and it has to be both ways. At the same time, hard times may happen. So you also have to be willing to work with that partner to maintain that lifestyle.
Yep.
And if not, for me, I like the gentlemen that are driven, ambition, and have that dream. You don't have to start out that way, but you best sure get there because that's what you want. And I want you checking me to be on that same path with you. And some days we're gonna have to pull back from the Birkin bag and Lamborghini lifestyle if we want to maintain enough bags to make to have options. Because those things are toys and options to me. Even though a Birkin bag does go up in stock, by the way, just to let you know. Seriously. And I think it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
I think it's a two-way
Me too.
street. So yes, if you know
That's how she get down.
that's how she get there, and you want her in that full face of makeup,
Yeah.
then you're gonna have to go to the Mac store and maintain the Mac, as well as her maintaining
And I want her to have that damn bag too.
Lamborghini.
I want her to have it.
Oh, you gonna get a little lineup.
But it would be nice. It would be nice if she's able to buy that bag too. She just wants me to buy it.
But I mean,
Right.
but what I'm saying is like, but do you don't feel at all that is a lack of more communication when a woman is just always like this, like literally, and the reason why I ask is because there's a situation that I saw. I didn't experience, but I saw, and every time this gentleman got to a level of success, that was what his significant other did was, oh, you got more money? Bam. You got more money? Bam. You got more money? Bam.
You knew that.
And it was like, and he actually at first he didn't, because the roles were reversed. She was actually more of the one that took care. But once he was able to support, then it was, well, you need to do for me because I've done for you. And my thing was, I felt like that was okay because in a certain way she was right. But then on the other hand, he was never able to build, and it was still like trying to build because she always had her hand out to spend the money that he just made.
Slowing the build up.
Right, and I know that's not every situation,
Yeah.
but to me that was a form of poor communication, and maybe on both parts, right? Because he should have put his foot down more. But at the same time, it was like, where was your degree of mental thinking ahead? Like, okay, my babe just got this better job, he got promoted, more money, that's great. Let's save up to a certain amount, and then I'll put my hand out and ask, can you buy me that bag? Can you help me with this nice thing that I've been wanting? You know what I mean? Like, and it was just, to me, I just saw that as poor communication. And then
greed.
and greed,
Selfishness.
and then the demand of it. It was like, you have to because I'm your girl, and you've been staying with me, and I've been helping you. So, like, it was literally like that. I deserve this. Versus,
That's a weird attitude to come at.
So it's like that's not effective communication.
It's not effective communication. But if she was to say, I like that bag, and she's not asking me to buy the bag or whatever the item is, she was like, I like that. And she's thinking, I'm not paying attention. I'm paying attention. And she may not get that bag because she's not asking for the bag or whatever the item is. She's not asking for it, but she mentioned that she liked it. So I'll be like, say her birthday's coming up or Christmas is coming up. I'm going to take that into note and say, I'm going to get her that for Christmas. I'm going to get that for her birthday. She's probably not even thinking that I even heard that she said she liked it. So she ain't got to be like this.
But does it also state, though, that as a man, like, seeing something like this, would you say in your experience, I'm trying to word this, would you receive that as, wow, does my babe love me, or does she love what I can do for her?
The way you're expressing it, the way from your situation, I would look at it as, does my babe love me, or does she love what I can do for her? Because of the demand and the expectation and authority behind that.
Right. And it's like, yes, that's some people's love language is to receive gifts. That's a love language. But like you said, with a demand, did you get me something today? So right. You come home with a bag of clothes, and you didn't give me nothing?
And for me, sis, at the cost, at the cost of what? Like, at the cost of what? Like, what is it costing you in the long run to provide this for your woman? And I think the woman should be thinking about it that way. You know, a Birkin bag is a long-term investment. If I was to ever receive one, to be honest, it'll probably sit in the closet like a pair of Jordans because I want it to grow in value. I may take it out every blue moon when we go on a special date or something like that, but it's gonna sit in the closet because we're investing in our life, right? It's not an everyday bag, and I feel like a woman should stay. I feel like anybody, but speaking about women, should stay wanting in their price range and when it's appropriate. You can't be all up on this Moet budget if you have a Target lifestyle.
Yep.
You can't. Yeah. I mean, that's just not fair. That's just and expecting the next person or man to provide that lifestyle for you.
Right.
And not have any kind of expectation. Now, if that person wants to do it, like you said, brother, then hey, so said, so done. You know what I'm saying?
Just don't abuse it.
Just don't abuse it. But if you're like, well, I'm down here and I need that up there.
I don't really like materialistic people that much anyway. Me, myself. So, she can be into her little things and whatnot. But if I know the heart of her is really nurturing or whatnot, get her what she likes, you know?
Right.
Because I know in her heart that ain't the end all be all about her.
Right.
You know, she's taking care of business. Or about me.
Yeah.
You know, I know where her heart is, and I've been in situations with her where she's really, you know, kind of opened herself up as far as letting me express myself freely without judging me or whatever like that. I know she actually genuinely cares for me. So when I'm in that kind of situation, if I can do it for my babe, I'm going to do it. I'm sorry. I want her happy. My aim is to make sure she has a smile on her face.
Right, and I totally agree. It's just that,
but not when she's abusing me or trying to take advantage of me doing it.
And for me, my mentality is this: if you have to choose between a bag and paying your rent, and it's the same price, I'm going for the rent.
Right. Because where you gonna put the bag?
I think that's where common sense kicks in for women.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then something else I learned recently. Wanted to get you guys' opinion on was is that the right word? Matriarchy, and the upbringing of that, and how that can flip and come out as poor communication towards men. So being raised by a mother that says you don't need a man, you do everything for yourself, and you make sure you can take care of yourself when you become an adult. So you will never want or need nothing from a man, and you only date with a man that's deserving of you, right? And so you grow up like with that standard of I'm going to be an independent, successful, self-serving, taking care of woman, and then you meet this man, and sometimes he has highs, sometimes he has lows, or sometimes he's always steady, just the way you were brought up. But then there is a power structure that comes into play, and the power structure is if he's in your situation, your environment, under your roof, essentially.
So the amount of respect that has to be there.
But you all of a sudden go, when there's a problem, this is my house, and if you don't like this and you don't like that, you can get out.
So she
Or
feels
if
about
you don't like how to be, if you don't like what I'm saying or what I'm doing, or just a simple argument,
Yeah.
I'm done with you. Get out of my house. Stop driving my car. You know, oh, I bought you that. Leave that here. Those type of things.
Shoes on the other foot, you gotta be able to take it.
It's so essentially it's like a power structure. You use your power over this person. You use your belongings, you use your materialism, you use even maybe your salary over the person that you're with to be dominant in the relationship. And every time something goes bad, you use those items and situation to push that person away.
Because you want to push them away.
Or because you want to be in control.
True.
What do you think? Like, is that...
If the person that you're doing that to takes it, that's on them. I know someone in a relationship like that where the female pretty much controls everything down to the clothes he wears. And he seems fine with it, and I'm like, if you like it, I love it, dude, but I couldn't do it.
So he likes to be dependent then?
He's very much dependent on anything. It's times where we'll be chilling at his house, but she does a lot for him too. Because there are times we'll be at the house, and he was like, I want something to eat. And I'm like, dude, the kitchen is right there. Why don't you get something to eat? No, I'm waiting for such and such to come home. She's going to make us something to eat.
So he's a grown-ass boy.
Yep. And when she comes home, he's like, hey, I want this. I want some steak for me and my boy with baked potato and salad. We're sitting in there watching the game. And she would go in there and do it. But she basically runs the house.
Right.
Like I say, from down to the car he drive to the clothes on his back, she picks out everything for him. And he's a codependent person like that. Me, myself, I'm not that kind of person. But they have that kind of relationship to where he says, I want this to eat. I want you to go out to get this. I'm going to barbecue this weekend. I need you to go out to get some ribs here. What kind of links you want, bro? And she'll go out and get them.
Because essentially she runs everything. So that's the balance.
She want to make sure he's happy. She want to make sure he's happy.
So he won't leave?
Hell no, they've been married 26 years.
I think with her situation, yeah, she may run the household, but she's also very much responsible for the household. Because oftentimes it doesn't happen that way if the roles were reversed. The man will control the household, but then the woman will still be submissive and still cook and clean all that, but he gets to like do whatever he wants to. And you know, so with that, and if it works for them and no one's complaining, then hey, it works for them, no one's complaining. You know, she's feeling like that's her way of running the household or giving back to her man or taking care of him, and he feels nurtured, but she has access to everything, the bills, the clothes, the money, so she knows what's coming in, what's coming out. Hey, you know, more power to you.
And he makes the most money too.
Does he hand over his checks to her?
No.
Well,
but whenever she wants, pretty much whatever she wants, she gets. Whatever decision that go on in the house, she has pretty much final word on it. From what kind of couch we're gonna get to whatever.
Those things don't matter to him then.
No, don't matter to him.
Okay.
Don't matter to him. He's not a big, I'm gonna go out and buy this. He'd be like, oh, look what so and so got. She got me a new outfit today, or whatever. You know, so she has access to all the money, but it's not like he comes home and just gives it to her. You know what I mean?
I think that's a little.
But she does.
I think that situation is a little different, bro. I mean, because it's not like she's stopping him.
It's not your situation to where get out my house if you don't do X, Y, and Z. I'll pay the bills here. It's not that.
Right. I don't hear that because it's not like if he wanted to dress himself. Yeah, she may have bought all the clothes, but he can dress himself. If he want to cook his own food, he can cook his own food, but he chooses to wait for her. It's not like but it's not, right, but it's not in his favor. It's not like she's saying, you can't eat nothing till I come home because you're supposed to be on this diet.
True.
You can't wear that plaid shirt because I want you in this suit today. That's controlling. That's totally different. They complement each other the way they want. He wants to be taken care of by his wife, and she gets to pick and choose how the house is maintained.
Well, what car he's gonna buy.
Okay.
She'd be like, no. He'd be like, she'll say something like, ain't no midlife crisis car. She don't want him to get like no muscle car.
It sounds like she's more like his common sense.
Yeah, she is.
You know what I'm saying? She's common sense. That seems like a complimentary relationship.
You're not getting that car, you're getting that one.
Right.
But based on what you said, sis, I think that mentality, from my experience, comes from lack of balance. Yes, a fierce independence, maybe because you haven't met someone that complements you, so you're equal, and based on the way identities are structured between men and women traditionally, women are fighting back. And they don't want to lose herself, or that particular woman in that situation doesn't want to lose herself and their independence and their self-control. And oftentimes, men invade your space and want to dominate, and so you feel this resistance, not because you want to be controlling to a certain extent, but because you want to, you don't want to lose yourself. But I also feel like it can go two ways. You just have women that just really want to be controlling because either they're insecure or they're narcissistic, and they just feel like they have to just run the show, and that man's going to do what I want. Maybe from experiences they've had in the past, or just how their nature's built. And then other women maybe want to be vulnerable, but they're too afraid to get played. And so if I have my space and I maintain my independence, and in this day and age, I know for me, sis, I have to have my independence because I don't want to lose myself. And feeling close to that is like a scary thing because you're still going to get left hanging. You can't count on someone else, like Brother keeps saying, to make you happy, to make you whole. And when you do, and then they fall short, you're completely disappointed. And then sometimes you get to the point of where you're lost. Right. And then at the same time, it's like, I don't want to feel controlled in my own space. I hate that. I hate that. If we're going to come together and blend our spaces and complement each other, fine. But if you're just here to dominate and want to regulate my shit, then you still doing your own thing, and because you're a man and this and that, yeah, I'm going to put that masculine female on you. If you're not representing us as a man you should be, then yeah, the masculine side of me is going to come out because I have to be both faces. I have to wear both hats. So why bother if I know I'm going to be shortchanged or I can't depend on you anyway, but you want the privileges to come home and have all these things done for you, but you don't want the responsibilities of what come with being in my space.
But okay, and I could totally see that. But to the extent of get out of my house because I don't like something that you're doing, or and this is, I can understand if maybe it's repetitive, right?
Depends on what you're doing.
I can understand, right? But okay, and I can understand if it's repetitive. This person is not listening, not getting it, and you're in my space doing it, then yeah, maybe you shouldn't be here because you're just being downright disrespectful. Mm-hmm. But if we're getting into like a simple argument, or I don't know, something very simple I'm going to mention is like I come home and the dishes aren't washed, and I know you've been home all day. Am I going to just explode and say, get out of my house because it's my house?
No,
that's poor, right?
Instead of just
expressing,
right?
Usually,
yeah.
But then sometimes it's like this whole. I feel it's like I'm up here because I'm so established and I have this great job and this life and this car and this house and I did it all myself. And if a man can't bow down to me, then and this is certain circumstances, folks. It's not often. It's not often. It was just what I was listening to. The research that I was listening to was a general statement that was made that we're dissecting right now. I feel like that's a bit of an extreme, right?
It is. There was a couple that I knew that the woman was able to move, or the wife was able to move up in her company, and even though he started off stronger with her, became a little stagnant in his company because there was just no room to grow in the location that they were in, and he stayed in that location because she wanted to stay in that location, and her career started taking off at her job. So I think she became an exec or VP. And one of the things she started to request to him was him moving up, even though she didn't want to move. How come you're not moving up in your position like I moved up in mine? And then she wanted a bigger diamond ring. And I said to him, where's your diamond ring? She's the one that moved up. And that was a pretty damn beautiful diamond ring that he had got her. And it wasn't super big. I think it was like maybe 2 carats, which is pretty decent. It's still decent, But she demanded more. It was all humble, it was all great. She was just happy to be married at first. But as she moved up the ladder, things started to change, and she wanted more. And she expected him to provide more for her because she was providing more for herself. And yeah, she was contributing back to the household, but it's not like he stopped contributing to the household. So I think that was just really selfish and ignorant on her part, especially because of the demands that also came with that. Not just where's my diamond ring,
Right.
but okay, I'm not willing to move,
So
knowing that you need to move up and grow,
Right.
You know. So it's either, and he liked his job, he just wanted better opportunities or more opportunities within that job. So she was like, well, you need to change this now, and you need to change that now because I'm moving on up, so you need to be moving on up. And I mean, they're still together, but it really took a toll on his ego and on his appreciation for her.
Why would you want to be in competition with your woman all the time?
He started to resent her because he didn't want exactly.
That's how you received that.
Yeah.
And he felt emasculated.
Why she feel like I moved up, you moved? This ain't no competition, babe. You move up, great. There'll be a time when I move up, but I move up on my time. I'm not in competition with you.
But do you feel like she would have to compensate for his I want to move up in my time? And I know that's not the way you told the story, but from what you said.
What if he moved up first?
But if his appetite grew,
then she didn't.
If his appetite
grew,
grew,
saying that shit?
Well, I mean, right, but I think it's like more like when you can is the defining factor versus when you want. Because if to me, Troy, if I'm with someone and I'm seeing him move up, I want to move up too because the finance complement each other. Mm-hmm. When one person goes up and the person this other person's stuck, now the person that's higher has to help the person that's lower financially. But if you keep going, each other's stairs, you're moving up together, you both gain a lot more versus one trying to compensate for the other.
But you're not holding it on his head though.
Right, but if I could not at that time, then okay, but I need to make some moves so I can.
Yeah.
But if I'm going, I'm cool, I'm chilling, eventually no, the person that's up here will feel dragged down by the person that's right here.
Especially if you don't want to move up especially if you don't want to maintain, if you don't want to move up but you still want to maintain that lifestyle that's starting to be added to what you're doing. And that's a good point that you're making too. Your appetite can't get bigger without your growth.
Right.
That complements that situation. Right. I completely agree with that.
And more and less does not even out.
Right.
And it doesn't make more, it makes less. But more and more makes more. Mm-hmm. You know? Mm-hmm. So I understand if you can't, you can't. You have to find a way. There's time that needs to be had. But if you don't want to,
it's interesting.
Things will change. People's mentals will change, you know. Mm-hmm. Right.
Now you got me wondering why we even in this situation now.
Because you both started off here, possibly. Or one was here and one was here, but like Olga was saying in the story.
So the relationship is conditional.
All relationships are conditional.
Absolutely.
Right?
Unfortunately.
Unless you have a relationship with your dog. Cats are conditional too. Seriously. Relationships are conditional. As much as we want to fool ourselves and bullshit ourselves with that unconditional stuff, it ain't,
Right. Because otherwise, what you're saying too, Troy, if a relationship is unconditional, you're accepting all of the negative.
And the positive.
But listen, all of the negative that comes with a person. And when people change or go through things, there's certain levels of negativity. Because anybody will accept all that's positive. Let's keep it real. Anybody will accept all that's positive. There's no conditions to what's positive because the positive will always benefit the other person. But not everyone will accept all that's negative. And that's where conditional love comes in. It's not with the positive side, it's with the negative side. Am I going to accept you cheating on me, stealing my money from me, not working, having women in my house, playing video games all day? But you said you love me, baby. You're supposed to love me unconditionally. So I'm supposed to love all that?
Yeah,
I'm supposed to love all that? No, there's conditions to that, right? But when it's positive, of course.
I'm saying
I feel like unconditional and ride or die leads to your death.
Right.
Let's be honest. Your spiritual, mental, emotional death.
Imprisonment or death, right.
Because I'm gonna love you until you do something stupid enough that compromise both of our happiness and our health and our this and this and this and that. You expect the person, You expect the person to think that way, but that people don't. We still are individuals that decides to come together as one if we coming together as one.
Right.
And it will never be equal, but we can only make it as fair as possible. We want it to be equal. As I used to talk about that all the time. That's not the reality of companionship. It has to complement each other and be as fair as possible. Because like we just said, one person may move up, the other person may stay down here. And that just may be where it is. But you can't be so greedy because now you know you got extra from this person. No. You have to be as fair as possible.
Yeah,
maybe you want a little bit more now, you lean on them a little bit, but can't you just be so much? And vice versa.
Right? I'm like, if I move up, you move up. That's the way I'll take it.
Absolutely, but you also have to...
Now, if she move up and don't feel that I move up, yeah, I'll just learn something there.
No, but the difference is, brother, your appetite doesn't get 10 times more greedy because she moved up. It may get a step more enhanced. But now it ain't, I'm going out to get this Lamborghini because my woman is the CEO of this, or she's making $100,000 a year. No, you ain't gonna do that. You just
that's taking
you go.
Advantage.
That's taking advantage. But that's where these dilemmas come in. It's like, well, damn, I'm not your bank account now, boo.
Well, someone you say you love, I don't think you would want to really take advantage of them.
And then on the flip side, every day. And then on the flip side, what comes? And then on the flip side, what comes with that though? What comes with that? If I am running the show and I'm making all this and all that, some women, you have to be submissive to them now. What the same way some men will be like, okay, well, if I'm taking care of you, I run the show, I'm in control. You know, it shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't.
But this is our reality
because egos come into play,
and because of the factors of both sides.
Communication is fucked up. That's why it's all messed up.
Hence, we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
So moving along, now we're going to talk about women communicating with women. Thoughts, folks? What are the boundaries and limitations that we have to overcome with that?
I think women have expectations of what another woman should be, look like, stand for, and I think that's our problem towards each other. We compete with each other unnecessarily. We compare ourselves to each other. We compare each other to each other.
Are you truly happy for another female when you say it all the time?
Me, yes.
You?
I can only speak for myself.
Am I truly happy for another female
when you say that you are?
Yeah, I am.
Or is it just something you say?
No, I'm. Otherwise, I wouldn't say it.
Okay.
But a lot of women aren't, though. You're right. A lot of women aren't.
Mm-hmm. Because of the whole competition thing you were talking about.
Right. And but my whole thing is, like Proza said, it's the lack of authenticity. Like, I'm sorry, and I paused when you asked that question because that's not something to even think about for me. For me to the next woman. That's things I've experienced myself.
Right.
But that's nothing for me to think about. So I'm like when you said that, I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about when that girl wasn't happy for me. But I'm like, yeah, of course, why wouldn't you not be happy for the next female, this and this and that? Now, don't get me wrong. Has there been times where I've looked at a bitch like, damn, she's bad, I wish I had that cup, that D cup. Or damn, I wish I had them shoes. Or damn, I wish I would have had my ass in shape before I came so I could have stunned it just as hard. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've had a little bit of envious moments, but I'm not just going to say like she's a straight up bitch because straight up, diva because, right. Now, I will also be honest with this. I'm happy for a woman's success. I'm not happy for the vicious diva-ness. I don't like that.
How she plays that success around other people?
Like I'm
I'm
superior to you, looking down on the next female. I'm not happy for that. And for me, that will instantly ruin my attraction to that female.
Right.
And
I can still be cordial with that female. Well, I'd be like,
no, don't be funny.
Right.
No.
Right. And I think for me too, what I've actually seen Olga experience this a lot. People prejudging Olga women prejudging Olga before they meet her. Oh, that drives me mad. And the reason why it drives me mad is because they don't know how to communicate with my sister, because they look at her and they go, this is a beautiful woman. And then especially when Olga's dressed to the nine, oh my gosh, she's a stuck-up bee because she looks that good. And Olga's gotten so much of, oh, we thought you were conceited. We thought you were thought you were better than anyone. We thought you were cocky because Olga has this natural confidence about her that comes out. And Olga, she's like the first person, literally, you guys, like, oh, my sister's the first person that'll be like, hey, y'all, what's up? Right, just really just down to earth. And everyone's like, oh, shoot, I thought you were this cocky B, or I thought you were stuck up. I thought you.
No, absolutely.
And it's
kind of,
right, and it's like, but then, and to bring that back into communication, instead of someone trying to go, hey, hi, how are you? Just to see. Maybe you prejudged, because we do that, but just to see. No, it's like, I'm not gonna talk to her because I already judged her, and with the whole attitude and then the exterior, and it's just like, for what? Like we there's been so many moments of valuable friendships or communications that could have been had with my sister lost because of the lack of, because of her exterior, and that I'm not going to communicate because I already assume that she's going to be rude to me. So let me have my guard up and be rude to her. Yeah. Right. And it was like, it's like, are you serious? And then the whole like beautiful natural hair and skin thing. That interrupts communication as well, you guys. Like when it comes to women, with that, like, and like Olga has said a lot, it's about the social constructions. Say that.
Social constructions and ideologies of our society.
Right. Oh, because Olga has light skin and the good hair and it's hers. Oh, I can't communicate with her. Like what is that?
Petty.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It is petty. It blows my mind.
You don't want to deal with somebody like that anyway.
But
just
see,
gonna bring your whole vibe down.
Sometimes people could be awesome, but they let their little hang up, something like that that's meaningless and trivial, like really ruin for themselves. Really ruin showing someone like Oak or the world how beautiful a person they really are, or how cool they are, because of their own little insecurities. And that our own insecurities disrupt our communication.
And you know what, brother, overall, if that is something you're going to hold on to, yes, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But initially, I still want to see behind that to a certain extent.
Right.
You know, because like Pearl said, it's an external wall that you just have up. But some of the chicks, like, there's been maybe 2 or 3 ladies where we didn't start off right, but when we let our guards down and we finally had those hard-hitting conversations that we didn't want to have, or call each other on each other's mess and maybe have to battle it out, like, we became some of the tightest friends. Did all those relationships last? No, it didn't, because time, life, maybe hang-ups that they just couldn't get over and I just finally had to let it go, and vice versa. But when we got past that initial superficial hurdle that society put on us, and then our own way of thinking and paranoia, it was pretty nice. It was pretty nice, and I enjoyed those relationships that I had. And you know, women, we're getting better at encouraging each other and being each other's cheerleaders. But what I've also noticed is that now it's about us. Let's be honest, we're the trend now. Whether we're black, blue, white, tall, skinny, hairy, hairless, we are the trend right now. So we don't have to battle the world and then turn around and battle each other, or take what society said is the ideal image of beauty, and now I'm resentful towards the blonde hair, blue hair girl. It's not like that anymore. Right. Because we're letting our guards down. We're able to be ourselves. We're able to communicate. Now, don't get me wrong, we have a long way to go. And we have to really work through this old mentality that we have, but that's the beauty of it. We get to work through it if we choose to work through it. Right. And I think if we continue to do that, and women uplifting women, and on the same level and playing field as much as possible. Because sometimes, going back to us still being innately animals, you gotta have the alpha female. And for certain personalities, for certain groups, I know I'm an alpha female. I'm an alpha female. Do I want my girls next to me versus below me or behind me? Absolutely. But sometimes I'll just come off more alpha and what they tend to say more masculine than
Sometimes.
other females. Okay, more than sometimes. Let's be honest, because that's just my nature. That's who I am.
She
that's
was
how,
born that way.
Yeah, that's how I've always been, and
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
getting more and more comfortable
But
with
people
being
respect
that way.
that a lot more.
But it doesn't have to
That's
come
true.
on. And what I'm growing into though is it being more assertive versus aggressive. It being more encouraging versus more intimidating. And I didn't even realize it came off like "Arr!" versus like "Arr! Kick butt, I'm your cheerleader." You know, be like, "What you ain't gonna do with what," and I didn't realize it was intimidating to other softer flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I meant it with the best intentions, but my execution was just so
Yeah.
damn poor. You know?
I
So
can understand that.
right, so it would get misunderstood oftentimes.
And you recognizing that, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
When people recognize certain things like that about themselves, that helps the situation along a lot better, because in time, as time's going on, they can find little things. Oh, I can tweak that a little better. I can do this a little better.
Growth,
So
right.
that's good that you can recognize it.
Right, and so, last topic regarding this portion. What about, this is something that really, it gets me. Besides what we just talked about, it gets me when women go against each other. You know what I'm gonna say?
For a man.
For men! Or
Competition.
because of a man! Or because a man's just created this drama and BS, and you can see it. But then you have some of those women who have that tunnel vision on that man, so they just don't see what he's doing, or they don't want to see it, or they see it, but they go, well, I'm here now. And it's like it becomes a competition of, I gotta get that man, versus, you know what? This man is screwing the both of us over. Let's actually get together against that man. That drives me bananas. Like, ladies, we need to work on that, because you know what? Let's keep it real. He played me, he's playing her, so if he ended up with her, he's still gonna play her the way he played me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it goes. Because he already was doing it, why stop? Because
And
now,
I'm good at it.
and he's good at it. Why stop? Because as he was playing both of us at the same time, he knew that he could continue to play both of us at the same time. And just because I decided to walk away and she decided to stay, doesn't mean he's going to stop and just be solid to her. He's just going to find a new one to play with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got to, get that in our minds and in our hearts. Like, it's not a battle, and it's not cute to fight over a man. What is cute and what is strong and what we should be battling is coming together against that man and teaching that man a lesson. Like, dude, you can't play. You may have thought you played both of us, but we're the one that's gonna get the last laugh. Okay, you may have won the battle, but we're gonna win the war. Like we gotta change that mind frame, because, I mean, no disrespect, but to men, but no man who dogs you, ladies, is worth fighting for. Period.
Absolutely.
Like, no man. And
One,
it just makes us look bad. It
I
really
think-
does.
One, I think it's situational too. If it's externally, meaning like you said, just one random woman to another random woman, the heart wants what the heart wants, and one woman versus another one, they try to be the superior for that man. Not making an excuse, but
No, right.
addressing what the reasons could possibly be. If it's like in your circle or in home, I think you could be blinded by the behaviors of the man and of the sisterhood that you expected to have. And we as women need to get back to honoring each other. And greed and selfishness, and because of internal choices that you failed to make for yourself and your character, can bleed into your relationships with your sister. And I mean, like, not just
No, right.
you and I, for example, as sisters, but I mean the sisterhood you share with another female.
Right.
And if you're doing things that are not becoming of yourself as a woman, you're going to reflect that. I mean, that's going to be projected onto the next woman, because you're going to think, okay, if I could do it, she's probably doing it too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you start to strip yourself out. And then let's be honest, sometimes females want what you have in your circle, outside of your circle, because they haven't made those healthy choices for themselves. So that's where all these roadblocks get in the way, and then we stop honoring each other. But it's not your fault. It's their own personal situation, and it's not their fault. It's just a thing they have to get through and grow through. And so when we forget to honor ourselves, then we forget to honor our sisters, and then we forget to honor sisterhood, and then that's why these men, those type of men, when I say these men, those type of ignorant, predatory men can get in between two strangers as women, to women that know each other, and even just the crazy thinking that comes with being humans, and paranoia that comes from our personal behavior can just disrupt everything that you have going on with your fellow sister.
Right. Well said. Well said. How you feel about that, Troy?
I agree with everything. I don't know much about that situation, so I'm kind of like learning right now.
Do you guys go through that? Like, have you ever witnessed, heard, or seen, or been a part of a situation where, you know, a woman was playing two guys, and then the guys, you know, because I've seen stuff where maybe the guys initially fought, but they were able to come back and speak on things, and maybe not be friends, but be cool, or go, man, we knew it was her. We knew she was playing us. I
haven't seen that much of anything like that, except like in high school. As men got older, the men that I know, I've seen that in high school. I've been in a situation like that. I won. I've been in a situation like that, but I recognize it for what it is. It's high school stuff, and you don't do it as, like I say, you get a certain age, you should change your format a little bit, or at least learned enough to change your format and approach things a little bit differently. But as an adult, no, I haven't seen anything like that, because pretty much a woman knows who she really wanted to be with. The other guy is just probably has this one little odd thing that she likes, but she knew who she really liked.
Yeah. You think the same goes to men? Goes for men? Or are they
No,
just greedy?
Not for men. Men like it from whenever and wherever.
Okay.
Men like it from whenever and wherever. And once they do find that one, I know a lot of guys who have found the one and stayed with that one. Actually, I told you a long time ago, I won't give their names, but it's some people I met in grammar school. They dated in grammar school, and to this day they're still together.
Yeah, I know a couple people like that too.
To this day. They just knew this is the person for me.
Wow,
yeah.
So, that's beautiful.
And they like met in like 6th, 7th grade.
Right.
And they're still together to this day.
Yeah, that is rare.
I go and see them, and I'm like, look at y'all been married for 50 years.
Right.
And they haven't, but they've been together so long.
Right.
It's like, I don't know them not being together.
Right.
I've never known them not being together.
That's a beautiful thing, man. That is beautiful.
That's what I say. It can happen. People just get caught up in a whole bunch of other stuff. But when you find that person, you know they got your back. It don't matter. Like I say with the whole birthday bag, it don't matter. My baby, she got it.
Right.
You know, I ain't worried about that. She ain't no, you know. So it can happen, but not often. But it happens.
Right. And on a side note, sis, the last couple years for me, I've been able to appreciate the beauty, the vulnerability, the individuality of the women I've been meeting. And for me, it's been very reflective.
Inward reflective? You've been learning a lot about yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
But also how I've been learning a lot about myself, and I've been learning how closed off, because of all the hate that I have received, that I was towards women, but how I missed out on a lot of the beauty that surrounded me, a lot of the flowers that surrounded me. Because I'm more of a guy's girl. I always have been. I'm into more what society deems as masculine things, but I've also been getting to know women that are also into like construction, working with their hands and things like that. But I still like to put on makeup, and I still like to be feminine, and I still like to, and I'm like, oh, okay, you can't. So when I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, that I can relate to that, because sometimes I want to wear a pair of heels, sometimes I want to be in my tank top, sometimes I want to wear some overalls, sometimes I want to wear a skirt. And all of that is still a beautiful makeup of me.
Right.
But then I've been able to see my girls, you being one of them, you know, we're twins, but we're like night and day. My sister's very feminine. You know, she's more artsy and crafty than me. I'm more handy, a little bit more handy in certain areas than Pearl. But I love to cook and, you know, get down, things like that. I'll wrestle with my nephews, and my sister's sitting up there doing our niece's hair and things like that. But we complement each other very well when we make the effort to do so.
Right.
And I feel like you and I we're two halves that make up a beautiful whole when we come together that way. You know, and some days I need those makeup tips from Pearl. And some days she needs me to be her rock and, you know, help her firm up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade those for real. I wouldn't
Y'all
trade.
leaving out some other days though. Some days these girls be going
absolutely. Because, and you know what, that's not
all
unhealthy.
love,
That's not unhealthy either, because it is all love, and our opposites
that
do
out.
clash, but we're always able to come back from that.
That's true.
You know, we may take a little time in certain situations longer than others, but the point is we're always able to come back. You know, some days she's gonna be like, I'm not feeling okay, and other days I'm gonna be like, you know, forget that B. You know,
That's just me trying to figure it out. It's like
true, very
whoa.
much true.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to just say I'm over and done with you and not appreciate, in the sense of I stop appreciating her individuality and her beauty. It may frustrate me some days, yes, but it's not enough for me to say I don't appreciate that. And that's what I'm growing into. And I feel like women, we gon' clash certain times, but that doesn't mean it's the end of the world for us because we clash.
Right.
As long as we stay in our lanes and respect each other's modes and moral compasses and situations and learn from it, then I think it'd be cool. I think the one thing that women can learn to work on is to stay out of each other's business more.
Yeah.
Even if we
That's
bring
a good-
it
yeah.
to each other as like, okay, can you just be an ear? Be that ear. Or if you're venting, take it as that.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to be a way to go back and tell Susie what Suzanne said, or tell Mary what Betty said.
Yeah.
That's just messiness. We don't have to do all that, especially when you go to a neutral person, because you just need that ear to vent to. And that's what we're here to do with each other.
Right.
You know? And so I've been able to just appreciate and sit in that for what it is, not for what I want it to be, for my homegirl, or because of my own personal values, perception, moral compass.
Right.
And then I can appreciate my sisters for who they are and how they represent themselves.
Right.
You know?
Right. Beautifully said, up.
Thank you.
So in terms of women communicating with children and their children, what are some things we can work on to be better, you know, examples for our kids?
You need to put them in a chokehold more. I'm being so soft with these kids, boy.
That's the rock coming out right there.
Only thing I can think of is being loving, honest, nurturing, and willing to also learn from your kids.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a big one.
those things. If you can do, you don't have to master them all, but if you can do your work in each of those areas, I think you have a good little kid.
Yeah. And you know something that
And one more thing.
yeah.
Two more things. Don't put your issues on them. Just because you got an issue with stuff, don't put that off on your kid, and let your kid discover themselves.
Right. Don't try to force their way.
Force your stuff on them.
Right. And I also believe that sometimes mothers, especially towards their boys, not all, we need to speak up for our boys towards their fathers. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes I feel like, okay, there's these roles that get played in a household where the father may be the one that's the disciplinarian. He could be the fun guy too, but he could be the disciplinarian, and the mom will just sit there and let the fathers like yell or say, "You're not being a man, you're not being a boy, stop that crying." Like, you know, I will whoop you if you say something. Cry one more time. Things like that. And it's just like, or you're a boy, you're supposed to get hurt and not cry, or you're not supposed to do this and that. And it's just like, moms, you need to speak. I'm a mom too. we need to speak up and be like, nah, let our baby cry. He got hurt. What you expect? Or nah, like, let our baby share his emotions, because otherwise, how do we know what he's thinking and how he's feeling? You know, and same thing with our girls. Like, we can't expect our girls, like, oh man, when I see moms going, oh, well, a girl can't sit with her legs open because she's gonna, that's a slut. That's what sluts do. No, the way we deliver things to our daughters, like, we could say, you know what, honey, you are wearing a skirt. People can see up there. You might want to close your legs. You know, make a little joke out of it, or just say something complimentary. Or, you know what, honey, if you like sitting like that, maybe you should wear some shorts. Or, you know, it's okay to sit like that. Just say something more. I'm not giving the best examples, but say something more in a teaching term versus a putting down term. And this one word I hear all the time: fast. You acting so fast. No, I'm curious. A girl
Sometimes being fast is curious too. Sometimes curious is being fast.
But it's the way it is, right?
Because you're not in the right environment, somebody would interpret that totally different. You're just being curious. But say you're doing X, Y, and Z in front of some males that gonna take it the wrong way. You don't want your daughter to be putting herself in certain positions to where, like you were saying, people are gonna, you don't know what these people are gonna do. And they're gonna take it whatever kind of way. So yeah, don't sit a certain way. And I probably won't say it as nice to my daughter. I would tell her, with what you got on, you do not need to be sitting like that. With what you're wearing right now, for you sitting all legs all open, that's not appropriate for a young lady. So sit appropriately, or if you're gonna sit like that, go put some pants on. If you're gonna sit like that, because it's not very
but did
ladylike.
You really explain
to
anything
be,
to her when you just
yes,
said that, Troy?
Yes.
No, I disagree.
I've said it. I didn't have to say it to my daughter because my ex, she done that before. She already laid down the law on certain things like that. So my daughter already knew at a young age not to do inappropriate things around people she don't know. She knows better to do those things. But if I saw my daughter just like hanging out and it's like a whole bunch of boys around, she got a dress on and she's sitting all the way she feels she want to sit, I would probably not front her in front of everybody, but if I walk by, I politely get her attention, tell her to come over, and I'm like, babe, when you're sitting around boys like that, it's really not proper for you to sit like that in your dress.
And see, for me,
and I'll explain to her why.
But the fact that you're saying it's not proper, you're like putting it on her. It should be more, no, not the responsibility, the oppression. Because for me, what would be more effective, what the ladies in my life have said, you want to sit with your legs closed when you have a dress onto a certain length, because it's easy for a male to look up your dress.
That's
versus saying, you're wrong for not crossing your legs, or it ain't proper. It's not that it's not proper or improper. Yes, there's a certain etiquette that my mom was raised with, so she's passing it down to me. I get that. But to say you're not sitting properly, no. It's you don't want someone to look up your skirt because you never know what they need. But you have to say it that way, because what we don't say or what we mean gets received differently for a child.
I'll tell her why.
And then what also I think what moms should work on is how they speak to their sons and their daughters. Stop calling them princesses and pimps and kings and daddies and mamas and all that kind of stuff in certain societies. Stop doing that. Stop saying a man is more privileged or a boy is more privileged to do this because he's a boy, but a woman isn't because she. No. See your children for who they are, how they are,
and how they
love
behave.
them, gear them, nurture them that way. If your boy wants to play with dolls, let him play with dolls. Don't necessarily mean it has to be a Barbie. It might be a Ken doll. It might be a Cabbage Patch Kid. And whatever the case, we kind of gave a little bit of information away there. We're gonna leave that alone. It might be your daughter may want to play with a Transformer. What's wrong with that? Encourage them to be who they are, the way they are. Let them identify. You gave them a name for a reason. So when you start putting all these other superficial names that society gives us, it's still oh, I'm a pimp. My mama called me, I'm a pimp, I'm a daddy, I'm the man of the house now. It's too much extra stuff. Or when you say they're able to be more free because of the sex, the genitalia that is between their legs, you kind of deplete the children's self-worth of who they are. I'm not less of a woman or a girl if I identify myself that way because I want to take judo or karate classes. I encourage young women to do that so that they can protect themselves against vicious people in this world, not just men, people in this world. And I think men should do this, and it's a form of self-esteem, discipline, character building. You know, it just helps build overall who you're supposed to be.
I see what you're saying.
When you just listen to the voice of your child.
Right. And then I think also too, like these, like you were saying, these gender positions that we put our children in based off of what they're playing with. They're just playing. And where we mess up as parents or as individuals looking in on kids is we go, don't play with those dolls because that's gay, or don't play with those dolls because those are for girls. No, kids are just playing, and they see something that catches their eye, and they play. Like a lot of times, if you really watch a kid and they're just playing, they're like, "Hi, my name is Susie," and "Hi, my name is Bob," and let's go play together. Like they're playing with the dolls, playing. Like it's never any like, "Hi, my name is Susie, and I want to," you know what I mean? It's never nothing like that. But what I'm saying is, those things start to come into your mind. Like for example, when I've heard little boys say this, "I'm not gonna get that color pink because girls, that's a girl color." No, it isn't. It's a pretty color. It's a nice color. It's a color. It's a color. Like, it's a color. Or, I can't, my favorite, or if a girl would say, my favorite color is pink and I don't like blue because pink is for girls. No, it's a color. And it's like, it's us in society, us as parents, the way we were taught or what we see or how we feel, we put that on our kids. And then we create these complications instead of effective communication within our children's mind based off something that doesn't even matter. A color has no feminine or male gender. A toy has no feminine or male gender. They're just materialistic items when you break them down. They're materialistic items. Just like skinny jeans and regular jeans. They're just materialistic items. And if you like it, you wear it. And if you don't, you won't. It's just as simple as that. Like, it's never anything bigger than what we as people, as adults, put onto our children.
Would you put a dress on your son?
If that's what he wanted to wear,
I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you look back in history, all the things that identify as feminine or female accessories were started by men. Men were the first one to wear wigs. Men were the first one to wear skirts. Men were the first one started with a kilt.
And do you
Men
know
were the
why
first one to wear high heels.
Why?
So hierarchical and heterosexual.
It was a higher status. If you wore heels, that means you were above everyone else, and it started from royalty. That means your feet did not touch the ground. That's why heels came into play. If you wore gowns and dresses and robes, that was a king and queen thing. You didn't put.
So it's more of an image thing.
Yes, you were dressed. First of all, you were dressed. If you were a royalty or of hierarchy, you were dressed. And you didn't put your leg into one leg and the other. It was what peasants did. I don't wear
was created by a man.
pants. Right.
And bought by a man.
Same thing with wigs.
And braided by a man.
Wigs were all about the beauty. We have to keep our youth and our beauty. And that came from men. So now all of a sudden it's supposed to be a feminine thing. Like you said, well, thank you for mentioning those things. And it was a status thing, really. It wasn't.
Plus, if you think about it, women didn't have a voice in those times. So even playing the role of a female in like a Shakespeare play was played by a man.
Right.
So men was kissing men on stage long before.
They was doing that a long time ago.
Right, but now it's supposed to be gay and feminine and all that kind of stuff.
Greeks
men are the one that created this whole nonsense.
The island of Lesbos.
And then, in addition to that, you guys, like when we have more free flowing communication without these gender roles and allow our kids to be them and really listen to our kids and learn our kids, we have happier kids. Like studies show that kids are so stressed out before they hit high school because of these gender roles, because of the demands of their parents, the demands of school, the demands of each other. Like there's no room to just be free flowing anymore. And it's like we are the reasons that our kids are like that.
And instead of teaching our kids to be about ideas and opportunities and financial stability and success that way and being effective and successful human beings, we put all these other distractions about sexuality and identity in their way.
That doesn't
and
matter.
That confuses them and creates more of a matrix in their mind
It
than
has
an
its place,
actual
though.
reality. Yes, but it should be
has its
taught
place.
completely
Right.
separate from. I don't disagree that it doesn't have its place, but how dominant it is in our society and how present
Yep.
it is in this society is more of a corruption, a level of corruption, not a level of knowledge and growth because of the way it's taught, because of the way it's demonized, because of the way they use it to be antagonistic and a form of distraction. You know what I'm saying? Everything is like sexualized and marginalized to be feminine or masculine, and then oppressed, and then we have to keep it secret, and we have to hide this.
My only thing is, if you like put a dress on a boy, send him to school, he has to be prepared for all the BS he's gonna have to deal with from all his schoolmates.
True.
In America.
Yeah, I guess in America because that's where we live. But even though he made that choice and you do that to that, you agree with that and roll with that. Be prepared that he's gonna have to deal with a whole bunch of stuff on the way and on his way home from school in that damn dress.
But you know
I
what?
wouldn't do that to a child.
You could be perfect, and someone will complain about how perfect you are and make it seem like it's bad that you're perfect.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What we need to teach our
I
kids
agree.
within that as well is self-confidence. Who cares if those people are making fun of you and teasing you? You know why? Because at the end of the day, I'm happy wearing this dress and this makes me me. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, when someone's teasing you and talking about you, it's their own insecurities that they're putting out onto you. They wish they could wear
Or
that
what they
dress
are.
so confidently the way you do. They wish they could try these things so confidently the way you do. They wish they could stand out so confidently the way you do. You know what I mean? Otherwise, why would you spend so much time ragging or dissing somebody else? Because you wish you were that person. You wish you could do what they do. And sometimes
Or
It's just
ignorance,
different.
or
I don't do
ignorance,
that,
or
so.
ignorance, a major form of ignorance,
Right.
and perception, and putting your ideologies and the things that you learn on someone else. Because I expect you to be this way because this is what I taught, so now I'm offended because you're not. On the flip side, though, what I will say to agree partially with Troy is this: we live in a society to where you must be prepared for both the yin and the yang, and that's just absolutely the truth. Yes, we want to say we should be able to look like this, not wear this, wear that, and you should, and maybe you will, and you're bold enough to do it. I commend you for doing so. But yes, be aware of what may come your way because of what someone else is lacking, or their ignorance, or their perception, or what they expect,
What they're used to.
what they're entitled to in their own mind because of what majority of the society is still on. Are we getting there? Are we progressing? Absolutely. But are there going to have to be, will there be some casualties behind someone else's ignorance until we have progressed far enough to accept it as a whole? Absolutely. And that's the part that scares me because that is our reality. If I ever have a son wants to wear a skirt or a dress, I would say cool, but I'll be honest with you. I'll be like, let's try to make it look like a kilt or one of those kind of longer looking shirts that's in style right now. Whatever the trend is, I'm going to try to work it that way so it's more acceptable so he doesn't get bullied or harassed if that's the environment we're still in when the time comes. If not, I'm going to say you wear what you want to wear, but you're going to learn how to fight back. Because just like the boy, I think it was like 5-7 years ago where that boy got lit on fire on the bus in Alameda.
And those are the
And the
consequences I'm
dude was
talking
just
about.
like, well, I didn't like him wearing a dress, so I just decided to light the dress on fire. And he got 3rd-degree burns behind that. Just because you wore a dress you thought was the right thing to do to damn near commit murder.
Right.
People are crazy like that.
That's the part that scares me
That's the
because
problem,
that's
right.
a part of our reality. As free as I
And
want
do
you
you
to
want to
be.
heap that on that child? Or do you want to protect that child from...
Well, I'm not going to heap anything on them. It's going to be their choice, but I'm going to let them know what's out
I'm
there.
a parent.
I'm going to let them know what's out there.
I know what's outside my door, that world outside the door, so I'm going to try to protect you any way I can from that. So if that situation was to come up to me, I'll be like, little dude, you can do whatever you want in this house as far as that kind of clothing. But when you leave this house, I don't want you to be...
And I think the age, too.
Yeah.
I think the age, definitely, because...
Yeah, I can see if they're a teenager or something like that.
Right. And that
If
young
they're
man
like
that got lit
5
on
or 6
fire
talking
was
about
a
they want to wear a
teenager.
dress, no, it ain't happening.
Well, see, and I think 5 or 6,
I know what
I
the
will let
world's
them
gonna
wear a
do
dress
to you
but
when you leave
inside.
this house. I know what they're gonna do to you, and you might end up that kid that got put on fire, and I don't want that to happen to you. So as a parent, I have to protect you from yourself.
Right, and I agree with you on that part, only because I can't be with them all the time from a certain age to a certain age, and they're still super vulnerable. Yeah, 5 to maybe like 12, 13. Yeah, sis, I'll probably like wear that in the house,
Yep.
especially depending on the environment that we're in. Because I remember one of my neighbors had let his son come outside with a skirt in the house, and one of my homeboys ran up to him and said, "You better take him back in the house with that skirt, because first of all, he's already biracial, but he lived white." And second of all, you live in a predominantly black neighborhood, and I hate to say it that way, but it wasn't even about. But it was the ghetto.
Like, yeah.
It was the ghetto, and he was like, the men out here ain't gonna
Go for that.
accept that. These
Yeah.
ends out here aren't gonna accept that. And I'm just
Your
like,
mind's
well, was it
okay.
because they were black, or was it because they were?
No,
This
it's
is
just
the
the
ghetto
environment.
with that kind of environment. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was because they're ghetto, and this is that mentality that comes from that environment. So I wouldn't want him to get hurt or taken advantage of.
And he's not even young enough to make that decision yet.
See, and for
Old
me,
enough?
I feel like
Old enough, yeah. Excuse me.
I feel like in a way that teaches a child that they cannot be themselves, and I would receive it as if my parents already have these reservations about me, I can't be open with my parents. And in addition to that, I would make sure that I put my son in the environment or in an environment to where he can freely be that way. I would not bring him or put him in a situation. That's me protecting my child. Like, I still want my child to be himself 24/7. So why would I allow him to go into an environment where I know he's going to get hurt? That's on me. I can't tell my child to change who he is and say, oh, but don't go be there. Don't look like how you want to look like, because that environment right there is going to screw you. No, screw the environment.
Don't
You
go to that
be
environment.
who you want to be, and I'm going to put you in the environment that's going to love you just the way you are.
But see, that's a blanket
That's
statement, and
easier.
that's easier said than done, sis, because if you find in a financial situation and you can only afford to live in that environment, what you gonna do?
I'm gonna take him to the environment.
But
Now,
you just said he should be able to walk outside with all of that. So I'm
don't
not
have to
saying
conform
don't
to
do
that
that, but I'm
environment.
saying okay, he may have to wear pants up until he leaves the ghetto. And let's say you don't have a car. He may have to be in those sweatpants till you get to the bar station or till you get to transportation in order to get to an environment that accepts that.
Right.
But if he's supposed to be wherever, you just said, forget the environment, my kid's supposed to be who they are wherever they are. That's not reality. The consequences of what may come to and happen to him is not our reality. That's like saying a female should be able to walk outside butt ass naked and not be touched.
Yeah.
That is not the reality yet. We want
Even
that.
though it should, she should be able to do
but
that.
that's not the. We
but that's
know a
not
man's
the
gonna come up here and try to grope her. Men doing it's the same thing with kids. There might be some pervert out there see a little boy in a skirt, a pedophile, and next thing you know he get raped.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, but I mean, what you said too is that person allowed that child to go out in that dress in that environment
Because they live there.
Right, I get that, but what I'm saying is because the awareness was that's not the environment he should be in. Yes, I agree with you. It's not safe to just let him be out in that environment like that, but I would put him in an environment versus going, you can't dress like that at all because of how society is or how the environment is. I would take him to an environment where he could be that way.
Right,
and I would explain
just do it in a house.
And I would explain to him, like, yeah, maybe, I guess because this person has a car, maybe from the house to the car, don't have the dress on.
And the situation
but I'm not gonna
speaking of is
right. But what I'm saying, I'm not gonna just like have him be in that environment. Yes, transitionally is a transition. We're going from one place to another. I get that, but that's like with us wearing heels. We don't. So it's smart not to walk on a gravel from here to there wearing heels. We're gonna look like a damn fool. People will tease women walking in platform high heels on some gravel and wiggling like this. I've seen it happen tons of times. What's the smart thing to do is put some flats on until you get to the environment where you can wear the heels and put the heels on.
But the gravel ain't gonna hurt you though. I mean, the gravel is not gonna turn around and sexually assault you or harass you or tease you or beat you up.
Right, and people will though.
Right, that's what you're talking about.
Right, but you guys are also stating like, Troy was saying, I'm not gonna let my kid out, period, like that. It's going to be in the house.
Yep.
And you were agreeing with that until a certain age.
Because I'm in a certain environment.
Right, and I'm saying screw that. Let your kid wear what they want to wear, but just bring them into an environment that allows that to be okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I want that kid to also know the environment that they live into, So I want them to interact with the environment that we live in also, but I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with it,
Yeah.
but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
then,
like, I mean, I'm like I said, I agreed with Troy because of the realities, but the story that I gave was based on the immediate environment that he was in. You know what I'm saying? That family, they be naked in the hot springs and everything else, being free as can be.
Mm-hmm.
But in that immediate environment, it's not going down like that because of the real life consequences that can come from that. You know, so I mean.
Very interesting
I
conversation.
think eventually society will progress in that way where, hey, we're going to be back in the conscious hippy-dippyville.
we need to be. Man, it feels good. Yes, I am a hippie chick.
So y'all gonna start a commune, huh?
Man, it's so freeing. That's a whole other topic.
And that to me, to a certain extent as well, you know? Shoot.
I love peace and happiness, man.
Mm-hmm.
So to sum this up, you guys, the resolutions. Well, how do we feel that as women we can better communicate towards each other, opposite sexes, our children, society? You know,
I have nothing. I'm not a woman.
in terms of receiving like women.
I already
to
said
you,
just be honest, respect yourself, and respect others. Another thing, try to be understanding. Put yourself in another person's shoes to where you can empathize a little bit more with the position that they're coming from, and listen. Sometimes keep your mouth shut and listen.
Yeah. I
That's
think
all I got.
stay in your lane, live your own life, learn, constantly develop your mind so that you're not just stuck in a box in one way of thinking. Reach outside of your immediate environment and interact with other women, children that may not even be your own environments as a whole. Get out your own way.
Yeah.
Be your best friend so that you're not worrying about someone else, what someone else is supposed to be to you as a woman. Stop trying to control your children, live with your children, not through your children.
That's good what you just said.
Yeah.
Basically, you said be the friend you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Be your own best
I like
friend
that.
instead of your own worst enemy. Pick your men wisely. Also be a reflection of the kind of person that you want to compliment you. And understand that everything can't be equal, but it can always be fair. Pay attention to the actions and the behaviors over the words. Bring as much to the table as you expect to take off the table.
There you go.
And one of my favorite things that Brother Troy says, knowledge of self through and through. And learn the 7 love languages.
There's 7?
Yeah.
I thought there was 5.
Well, 5, 7, however many they are.
No, it's like
we're developing
I
more and
need to
more.
learn
I mean, I was understanding it to be 7, but perhaps it's 5, whatever. And honestly, I can't, you guys, remember all of them right now. So if you look up 7 love languages, they'll all come into play, so that you know how to identify them differently.
Right.
And understand what category people fall into in your life, so that you're not impulsively giving yourself to people that aren't worthy of your gifts.
Right. Right. And then some that I want to add is let go of the hope.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Have faith, but let go
I'll
of
take
hope.
that one on. Let go of the hope. That actually stops effective communication when you're just really honest with yourself about the reality within yourself and the reality that surrounds you, instead of the hope of the reality within yourself and what surrounds you. You definitely build better self-strength and assertiveness and effectiveness and effective communication within self and towards others. Also, we need to let go of wanting to have so much control, thinking that we see the greater good in something or someone, and just let it be. If it is what it is, then it is what it is, and if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. And be willing to state that and walk away confidently.
All right.
Thank the people.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in and for listening to this segment. Stay tuned for the next.
All right, Top TV, where everything comes off the top. Peace.